Welcome to EVE Online. I'm Major Freak, and fairly excited. I've got a Huginn. Finally able to field a Huginn. I was able to fly it before, but my other character needed to train up to swap out the lowsec, and he has done so. And now in a lowsec. So this is going to be hilarious because I'll probably totally screw up and go cross-eyed trying to remember who's actually in the cap chain. Right, so I used to stagger my hardeners, but now I've set the low slot to control and the mid slot to shift. It kind of makes sense. And I just hold down control and swipe. Yeah. You could stagger it if you're. I suggest staggering it, just to be on the safe side. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter. If you actually need to stagger these, you've got bigger problems. That's what I say. So the two main worries here are, whenever you're dealing with a FOB, are well, both the Garista and even the lowsec one. It's mainly the nuding damage. You have to counteract the nuding damage and make sure you don't cap out, because then bad things could happen. You could not even power your micro jump drives if you're completely out of cap. So it is an issue. So the other issue is getting overwhelmed by the defense force, and if you get an unlucky response fleet, which is triggered by the hauler. So as if you're doing this for the first time, like say the first couple of months of this, you need to drain the FOB using a pod. And it's fairly easy to do. I'll make an example. Got my pod at the ping. I'll warp in and hit set bookmark at about 10k kilometers, and that usually puts my bookmark on the grid. If you've got a slow connection and or computer, I suggest 50k because it's really chancy. It's a bit laggy when you're trying to do bookmarks. Yeah, anyways, so there's my pod, and it'll get hit by all the modules on the FOB. Lol. Typically, it'll almost invariably last exactly 10 minutes from the time it starts draining you till the end. So swap in with a pod, nothing else. Make sure no rats are on field, except the hauler, and you won't trigger anything and you won't get your pod blown up. But do remember to warp it off, because pods are shot at by both response and defense fleets. There we go. So T-minus 10 minutes, and yeah, what I don't really care anymore. I can kill this thing in 15 minutes, so it doubles my time if I'm being careful, and I am very confident I can deal with this without dealing with... Whoop! Silly me. Alright. There we go. Alright. So off it goes. Done its job. Now the hauler, the mining fleet, the response fleet you're worried about, not really per se the hauler. It is interesting if you can get the hauler, because there's an uncommon chance it'll drop a loot box, loot crate, which has a chance of getting a good skin. They're always skins, but... And some of the mining vessels will drop a rare meta-named mining upgrade module, yada. It's really in the long run not worth it, but say if you're a solo player and are interested in doing these just to get rid of that annoying notification, and you're in a backwater system and hardly anybody deals with your fob for a few days, the notifications can be annoying, so it'll take you about 50 minutes solo, 50 50 to deal with it. What I would suggest is get a backup computer, another entity, to quote the EULA, and get an alpha character and get in a fast MWD equipped frigate and go find the mining vessels, warp in on them, immediately burn away from the asteroid belt, and with your MWD on, of course. Get the hell out of Dodge, and the response fleet will try to catch you. And the nice thing about the response fleet is they won't starburst. That is, they won't warp out to 400 and then warp back right on top of you. So it's nice. So you can keep them distracted. So that's them dealt with. And the hauler, I don't believe, will appear at that point. Whatever you caught at the belt will go to a safe spot and stay there. You can combat probe them down. It's kind of fun. To learn how to do that. You can combat probe them. What I usually do is, I usually don't bother, but if I see the hauler appear at the fob, what I do is my hauler's got the combat probes. I launch it, set it to 0.5, and this icon gets it to center on your current position. And you quickly hit analyze, and you should be able to capture the ID of the hauler. And once you do that, it doesn't matter how big your sweep is once it flees or anything like that, you can totally catch it. And once you've got the ID, say you've got, say, ODQ, and you just fire that up and you just go analyze, you can isolate that ID from all of them and go ignore all others, and then your job becomes so much easier in scanning down your target. But it's to me, it's a huge, like, say if this was, a ODQ, I go ignore other results, bam, there you go, and you'd be able to scan it down easily from there. That's how I do it. Yeah. Right. Other things to know are once you get within 350 kilometers, the defense fleet will spawn. Actually, it's 375 kilometers, my bad. 1,500 kilometers is the maximum range that a defense fleet will normally go for. Anything beyond that, they'll just ignore it, which is why my people here at this safe spot are completely safe. The response fleet will target you, but like I said, they don't starburst, so they'll take forever and a day to get to you. It's hilarious. Oh, yeah, I've been confused lately. I've been saying 6 hours, but yeah, every 12 hours, the detection range will extend by a jump. So that's why you get confused when you first start being interested in FOBs, and you're like, why do I see one such and such far away and another? Is it, you start to think, is it light years detection range? Is it, you don't realize that it increases its detection range. It's just a thing we're just not used to. So yes, every 12 hours it goes from system to one system out, and then etc., etc. Of course, if it's less than 12 hours old, they won't have any haulers and miners and stuff. It's great, I think. Pretty sure. Could be wrong about that. I might have updated my data on that. But yeah, if it's new, it's in system, it's totally fresh, say 6 hours old, it won't spawn haulers and stuff. Or 12 hours, I forget. I don't know where I got the 6 hour thing from. I don't know. Must be something. Anyways, 262 is the range of the FOBs neutralizers. 186 for the sensor damp. Probably similar for the web. Don't know. your main concern, of course, is the neutralizers. I think this means the haulers spawn at 6 hours. And I don't even know what I'm saying here. I think I made a typo or grammatical error. Typical. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, most of the damage is EM, so you'll need lots of EM. And there are some, I think they're all mostly EM. Ashimus and Omens are your biggest concerns. Apocs are not, and Balgorns are not. The Balgorn won't be nuding you because it likes to snipe along with the Apocs. Any augers with them at 100 won't help out any crews pointing you. The Omens, if they come in force, they sometimes get... see, it's a zero-sum game. If a bunch of Omens spawn, like say hypothetically 8 spawn, there's a chance that some of those Omens will be augurs or Ashimus or arbitrators instead. So the more support vessels to the Omens there are, the less effective DPS there is, but the Ashimus, warning, are the worst of the lot. They don't do more, they don't do less, but they do a significant amount of nuding damage to you. And they focus fire on one target and won't switch, unlike the Omens and everything else. Everything else, it'll 45 seconds to up to 7 minutes or something. That they just, sometimes they go for a long period of time shooting one person, the Omens, but they'll eventually switch targets. That's why plates are really good. That's why mostly my guys don't really care about the incoming DPS, because eventually the targets will switch. You'll get ranked up again. If they switch back, it's just a waiting game basically until the FOB's dead. Crews, the pointers, the Punishers and the Executioners, blah blah blah. Those are the response fleet. You'll never get that kind of defense fleet. I like to warp in one at a time. What you're hoping for is a confused reinforcement wave. The first spawn is the biggest. After that, you get little reinforcement waves for any ship that comes in. And what you're hoping for is to create a system where you've got some are Omen close in and some are sniping far out. And 3 Omens are worth 2 battleships. And of course the battleships spawn in smaller numbers, which is hilarious because they do less DPS. Effectively it works out that your main worry are the Omens. That's an interesting spawn. You've got 2 augers. It'll be very tough to break the tank of 2 Logi. 3, it gets interesting, and I'll bet if I get unlucky with the spawn, with the reinforcement waves, that, make sure my hardeners are on. Of course I did, I swiped. That you could have up to 3 augers. It's usually a big worry. So I'll shoot the FOB. And you have a little bit of grace period because they starburst, right? See? They have to start back, and you've got time to set up your cap and stuff. There we go. So I've got Minor Major Freak there in Omens. I mean, Lashaks and Seneschal as well. And I use Seneschal to keep distance at 250. Make sure I'm at the right one. You'd like any orbiting support vessels around Seneche not to be bumping into your Leshaks. That would be great. So there we go. 250 and 250, and we'll set up our cap chain. Yeah, sorry, Wi-Fi bro. Alright, so 1 to my down. I usually have 2, but a friend needs to suggest we go to 1, and that allows an extra drone range, which is really helpful because you can engage the augers right away. And it's really helpful for the drone bunny because they don't have to worry about your drones not being within command control range for it. Alright. So I'm going to spread it out one by one, and I've got 3 augers. Excellent. So that'll be a good showcase for the Rook, because you'll definitely need the Rook to break the tank. And the nice thing is there's no curves, so you could blap the FOB and just warp away, be done with it. So I could right now just ignore them, completely ignore them. Major freaks my down. There we go. Alright. But I want to test out my my new toy, Huginn. Woohoo. Alright. So what will you spawn? Probably 2 curs and maybe another omen. I've got an Ashimu and another omen. They'll starburst. They should. Off he goes. 2 omens and an Ashimu. Okay, so the DPS just went to the equivalent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 omens, yeah. The equivalent of 7 omens are no issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8. So yeah, 8 omens are on the brink of worrying about it. We've got nuding damage coming in on the... now, the FOB will attack anybody. It is completely free of any bias in targeting, so it'll randomly whap anybody with an E-War who's on within range. I've got a lot of plates, so I'm not too worried about Tyrannicus at all. Best to target them up. I don't have any audio on. Concerned about lag. Well, so far it doesn't seem to be too much of an issue, remembering who's actually in the cap chain. Yeah, 8 omens. The equivalent of 8 omens is just... yeah, it can't break my tank either. And it'll take about 15 minutes to kill this thing. Yeah, not worried at all. Alright, let's play with the Huginn. drone bunny. Yeah, I've been growing with cures for drone bunnies, and I've been waiting to be able to play with this sucker. It's got a 40-kilometer range on its webs. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So what I'll do is now mostly everything is vulnerable to EM. The Ashimu's vulnerable to thermal mostly, but it's okay. Infiltrators do a great amount of damage. So whoopsie. Ah, yes, of course, because yeah, new ship, or at least. So once you've got, if you ever like go launch drones like this, it'll do it randomly. But if you use the hotkey, it'll launch only, it'll remember who your favorites are. It's pretty cool. So I'll go assist Hereticus. There you go. And Hereticus will chew it up. Now I don't believe that I'll be able to break the tank of this sucker, but we'll see. Now, the interesting thing is that, just a side note, I'm sure you know by now, you might not, but drone bunnies just don't work in low and high sec against PvP targets. They work great in null sec, but low and high, they just do not. It's something to do with Crime Watch. CCP is aware of the defect, so to speak. They tried to fix it a while ago, but it wasn't... Let's see, I could pretty much dump on them for the stupidity of trying to do something like that, but it would waste everybody's time. I've talked about it before. And it's long past. I'm sure they've just binned it in, filed it in the garbage compactor under miscellaneous. So yeah, it's an issue, unfortunately. So if you're a mining foreman and have everybody assisted to you or guarding you, say guard doesn't work either. Guard and assist don't work for PvP, even if you've got your safeties to red. So if you've got a drone bunny and you're blapping rats left and right, and you'd love a PvPer to come in range so you could drone bunny it, it won't work. Assist and guard don't work for PvP. You've got to individually target the PvP target and engage that way. Yeah. Unfortunate, but yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles anyway. Alright. So yeah, there's 3 freaking augers on field. There's no way I even pray of breaking the tank, except I have a rook. So what I usually do is I set my first of all, let's find the lead omen, and it's actually the anchor, if you can freaking believe it. I didn't believe it. One of my Erroneous again. He tweaked to that. He was like, say, and I was like, no, and it didn't turn out to be true. I'll tag all of these. I'll put the Ashimu as X, and we'll put the augers as A, B, and C. B looks a lot like 8, so I usually go D. There's another omen. Add that to the list. Oh, and another Ashimu. Alright. We've got a respectable fleet on grid. That's kind of cool. And I like the range to be 1500. 1500, please. way they'll just almost clip the tails of the lashaks as they go by. And yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so jamming these suckers. I'll have to jam all of them. It's pretty tough. So I'll switch targets to primary to. I like to stagger my ECM. I'm not sure if it's helpful. But yeah, I really should. I'm gonna get neuted out. Little bastards neuted me. So I'll be completely capped out. Come on, let go of me. Don't cap. Ugh. Alright, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to be a little bit patient. Launching this and assist Hereticus. Alright, and we're going to switch to number A. Do this up. D and C. Alright. I don't think I have the range on. Do I have Proton? Does it have the range on that? Yeah, that'll do it. That'll just fine. I won't be able to web it, but hey. Alright, off we go, and I should be yeah, there we go, good. I'll be neuted. And that should take care of it. 14 jam strength? Yeah. Alright. And off. Yeah, the drones are just not fast enough. You can't really get anything that'll catch up to them, but it's good enough.
Warp drive active.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long to take down this auger. I can add, unfortunately, is it close enough? 40 kilometer. Do I have any arbitrators? Arbitrators is really annoying. You have to peg those first. If you can usually overpower the augers, but there's 3 of them, so that's a massive amount. They're being jammed. But yeah. Just unselect those. Just yeah. Not got the range for that. I could go for exotic, but I'd rather go for something interesting, like Ashimus and arbitrators. Of course, if you've got crews on the field, that helps too, because they can easily get to within range and web. So let's get some damage going on that. Pew pew. And X is going to get fried. Hell, I could have even probably used a cult. Usually can't hit Ashimu's orbiting that closely, but I'll quickly get my webs on them. Put some webs on and then re-engage this target. That should send the drones rushing back to take out that Logi. Should. Why you don't go attack? Alright, whatever. Off they go. Alright. So at that point you just basically blap random people. They're always within burial range. Alright. Yeah, they're really easy to gank. Pew. I try not to shoot Jay, the lead anchor. The crews will usually web it down and force everybody to orbit around it. It's pretty funny. It's hilarious, actually. Why aren't you dying? Almost dead. Let's get you deader than a doorknob. Yeah, ECM is key. Because if you, yeah, like I pointed out, you could have easily blapped the FOB and just taken off and not cared about anything. The little shacks were just doing fine, didn't need any support. Just wanted to test this out. It's kind of fun. Pew pew. And as soon as that's down, crew is going to get webbed hard. There we go. Bye-bye, little guy. You're gonna get schmacked. I don't think I can hit. Can I hit? Dead. Yeah, and now I can just web that sucker down and then attack you, and everything should go for that one and ignore J. There we go. Pew pew. don't think... I think what I usually go for, I think it is depleted uranium. That's got the range and the damage type. Because they are vulnerable to thermal mostly, and... Oh, EM, okay. Yeah. Pew pew. .44. Curious. 144 versus, say... Okay, that's pretty cool. Consistent damage, yeah, consistent. Alright, EMP it is. Cool. Blap. Don't forget you pull your drones. Of course, I'm being silly. You easily blap these guys out of the sky. Pew pew. Yeah, it might be fun with a drone bunny, but honestly, you can just gank all these suckers. No problemo. Just annihilate. And of course they're within weapon range, so blam. Yeah, dog meat. Recall drones.
Warp drive active. Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.